President Cyril Ramaphosa is expected in Mahikeng any moment now. We had heard earlier, Vuyo Mvoko, that it was going to be around midday that he was expected to arrive there at Heritage House behind you. We've not heard from the President, but we have heard from the ANC.
Indeed, Gareth, we heard from the ANC telling us that everybody who was supposed to be at this meeting is indeed here. The only person who is yet to arrive is, of course, the President himself. I did check again literally a couple of minutes ago, and we were told that, in fact, we would be the first to see him because he's going to come this way and drive right through to that gate behind me. But from what some of the people just told us, he has landed here in Mahikeng at the airport and will soon be making his way to this resort where everybody is.
And just to remind us earlier, the big question, of course, was not just where the President is, but also the very much embattled, I think that maybe is the motorcade. Vuyo?
Well, it does look like his motorcade is about what we can't see very clearly, but there's a couple of cars coming, or you can see that now. It does look like he is on his way because the security personnel behind us are trying to clear the contingent of journalists that have gathered here. It does look like indeed it is him, Gareth.
All right, if you have just joined us, it's my colleague Vuyo Mvoko who is busy witnessing Cyril Ramaphosa arriving from what really was a investor trip cut short. He was over in the United Kingdom, Vuyo.
Rands towards that goal from the UK government, and he was then scheduled to meet with investors themselves as in the hope that they would make further pledges, but also he was going to give them opportunities to actually ask whatever questions they wanted to ask, seek whatever clarities they wanted to seek, and of course tell him and his delegation whether in fact they were keen or they were seeing South Africa as the investment destination that he and his government are convinced it is. That, of course, also coming on the back of those 4 envoys that he announced before he left. These are the people who will be crisscrossing the world trying to convince investors that South Africa is indeed open for business. Gareth.
Vuyo, now just before I let you go, we're going to speak to Michael Marilia at the touchscreen in a few minutes, and he's going to tell us about the President of Peace. This is a man, Ramaphosa, who has been a key negotiator throughout South Africa's history, from Mandela to the signing of the Constitution. But today is yet another moment in his career where his negotiating skills within the ANC are going to be called upon. He has to be very careful how he manages this, doesn't he?
Indeed, he has to do that because as much as there are more and more people now calling for Supra Mahumapelo to be axed as a premier, it doesn't necessarily mean that taking such a decision would make him famous within the ANC. A lot, of course, is tied to Supra Mahumapelo remaining as premier of the Northwest, because remember, there are people who depend on him to actually dispense patronage. There are people who, if the allegations are true that have been leveled against Supra Mahumapelo, Ramaphosa have a lot to lose in the event he is axed. So many of them are here, or certainly their proxies, to make sure that they put up a good fight and that he doesn't go. But of course, there is another group of people who believe that he is actually costing, and his continued stay will cost the ANC even more. With eyes firmly on the 2019 election, the last person they need going into that election is Supra Mahumapelo, who faces all manner of allegations. Not only that, the public service, or at least parts of the public service, are actually crumbling under his watch. The health services here is actually in dire straits. There's a strike that has been going on for months without any solution in sight. There is, of course, the corruption allegations linked to the whole Midiosa contract. There is another tender within the presidency that he has been linked to as well. So lots and lots is going to come up for discussion this afternoon. We heard from the ANC NEC member Obed Mapela giving a clear indication that the organization here, the ANC, is actually divided right down the middle, and that includes its structures such as the Youth League, such as the veterans. So there is a lot that will have to be discussed here this afternoon, and in fact that meeting, if history is anything to go by, may continue well into the night.
I was about to ask you, as a man of many years' experience covering the presidency, I'm sure you were about to be able to tell us how long this will take, but you answered my question. Vuyo Mvoko, thank you very much indeed. If we thought this was going to be a quick meeting once the president arrives, that clearly is not going to be the case. President Ramaphosa, with that news just in, has arrived in Mahikeng, where he is expected very quickly, very shortly, I'm sure, to